Well, as baby boomers continue to reach retirement in their golden years, one of the many issues their children face is the topic of driving privileges and when it's time to scale them back. Knowing the law for elderly drivers certainly helps. Tom Sinas with the Sinas Dramis Law Firm here to talk about that today.
Thanks, Christian. Boy, this is a really important issue because, in our state, we have one of the largest populations of people over the age of 65, 14% of the state of Michigan. So the first thing to remember is a very simple point, but that is that the same traffic laws that apply to you and me apply to the elderly. There are no special exceptions for people over the age of 65 as far as them having to comply with the traffic law. So that means that you have to think about these things, because if you have loved ones who are aging and who are driving, they are eventually going to have to come to terms with whether or not they can drive or whether or not we need to modify their behavior.
What are some of the common problems? I mean, we're talking about vision, we're talking about perception, and just being kind of quick-witted.
That's right. A lot of these things are really easy to observe. Failing to stop at a stop sign, getting lost during a trip, having to ask somebody else in the vehicle if it's safe to turn, going places that they would typically go without a problem suddenly becoming more and more of a problem. Those are signs that there's an issue that maybe has to be addressed. And it really has to be addressed because the last thing you want to do is to set your loved ones up for a problem in their golden years if something terrible happens in an accident.
So how can you do that without just hurting their feelings and making them feel like, getting defensive about it?
It's a great question. You have to get out ahead of the issue early, because the last thing you want to do is be going in there and taking away driving privileges. So you got to look for signs early, and if you feel that there are issues, consider involving other people in the analysis of the problem. So for example, you can go to the Michigan Secretary of State and have a driving evaluation done on your loved one. Or you could privately contract with a rehabilitation counselor to have a driving evaluation done on your loved one. And you could do this early in a way that doesn't overlay with the threat of taking away the vehicle. It's a way to start the conversation with your loved one and maybe have them see through someone's eyes other than your own what kinds of limitations they might be having in their driving.
You hate to see it kind of just fester there until there's a serious accident and they're left. I mean, we report them all the time. Somebody has either a medical condition or something where they drive through the front of a building or something.
That's right. And in those situations, your loved one is just as liable as anyone else. And whoever owns that vehicle could be liable as well, or whoever let the loved one drive the vehicle could be liable. You don't want to be in that situation. So you need to ultimately work together to build a transportation plan. So part of it is, as we talked about, getting an assessment of their driving, but the other idea is to start talking with them about what are our other options going to be. What public transit options are near the loved one? Or where might you be thinking of living, and how does that living arrangement coincide with an alternative transportation arrangement?
Bring them into the Uber age. Tom, thanks for the insight on this, and if somebody has a legal question they want to ask, they can call you.
Anytime. Grand Rapids 616-301-3333. They can find us online at www.sinasdramis.com or shoot us an email at info@sinasdramis.com.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thanks, Christian.